What's up, everyone? Welcome to the May 18th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays, presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. We have a 6-game MLB slate tonight on DraftKings. Nice split slate today. 5 games in the afternoon just started off. 6 games this evening. As usual, we're going to take a look at 3 of the top tournament stacks and 3 of the top tournament pitchers using the boom bust tool, using the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool. Still in the habit of talking about basketball on the Awesemo.com website. Starting with the top 3 tournament stacks. Number 3, the New York Mets are taking on Jordan Hicks and the St. Louis Cardinals tonight. The Mets have been a very good offense this year. 110 WRC plus. 131 ISO leaves a little bit to be desired, but we do know that they have plenty of power in their lineup, so that the ISO number is probably going to increase going forward. Hicks has been decent so far this year as a starter. Previously in previous seasons, worked out of the bullpen for the Cardinals. He still has about a 23% strikeout percentage this year, but he does have an elevated walk percentage up around 13%. He has a 4.11 xFIP. The Mets are projected for about 6% ownership with a 7% chance of being the top stack and 8% chance of being the top value stack. Number 2, the Chicago Cubs are taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Will Crowe is expected to start the game for the Pirates. Potentially, you're getting Roansy Contreras behind him, who is one of the better pitching prospects in baseball, but has very limited major league experience. He's pitched in 3 games this year. Crowe himself isn't very good. So it sets up as at the very least, a volatile spot for the Cubs. They're only projected for about 9% ownership, 10% chance of being the top scoring stack, and a 15% chance of being the top value stack. The Cubs have a 96 WRC plus so far this season, so they've been around a league average offense to this point. And number 1, the Toronto Blue Jays taking on Marco Gonzalez tonight. Gonzalez has only struck out 15% of hitters this year. When he's on top of his game, he changes speeds well. He gets a lot of infield fly balls, and it really is frustrating from a fantasy standpoint if you stack against him because he looks like somebody that should be very hittable. But he has a very, very small margin for error. And when things get bad for Gonzalez, they can get bad in a hurry. We know that there's a lot of power in this Blue Jays lineup. They have a 97 WRC plus overall this season, but the upside's very high when you talk about a lineup that has guys like George Springer, Vlad Guerrero, Bo Bichette, Teoscar Hernandez, plenty of power in this lineup. And Gonzalez has been home run prone this year, allowing 2.25 home runs per 9 innings. The Jays have a 4.9 implied run total tonight. Now, looking at the top 3 tournament pitchers, number 3, Lucas Giolito, $8,300 price tag, taking on the Kansas City Royals in Kansas City. The Royals only have an 84 WRC plus this year. They have only struck out about 20.6% of the time, so not the easiest team to strike out, but a reduced price tag on Giolito. He has struck out 35.2% of hitters this season. He has an excellent 2.66 xFIP, and the Royals also will be without Salvador Perez, who was added to the injury list yesterday during their doubleheader. So sets up as a nice spot for Giolito. 22% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, 24% ownership, 20% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher. Number 2, Shohei Ohtani. Very reasonable $9,200 price tag tonight, taking on the Texas Rangers in Texas. Ohtani has struck out 35.4% of hitters this year. He has a very good 2.04 xFIP. And the Rangers, while they did make some offseason additions like Corey Seager, they have been a below average offense to this point with only a 91 WRC plus and a 21.8% strikeout percentage. And number 1, Kevin Gausman, $10,100, taking on the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners have been an above average offense with a 109 WRC plus. As a team, they've struck out about 21.9% of the time, but Gausman has been excellent so far in his first season with the Blue Jays. He has a 30.9% strikeout percentage. He's only walked 1.1% of hitters, and he has a 2.1 xFIP. Gausman has a 37% chance of being a top 2 pitcher, 19% chance of being a top 2 value, and he's only projected for about 26% ownership right now. So to recap, the top 3 tournament stacks on DraftKings: number 3, the New York Mets; number 2, the Chicago Cubs; number 1, the Toronto Blue Jays; and the top 3 tournament pitchers: number 3, Lucas Giolito; number 2, Shohei Ohtani; and number 1, Kevin Gausman.